Oh, welcome to the inside story on the nervous system.
Be or not to be, that is...
We may have to be a little patient with Adam today. He's acting a bit nervous. Actually, he's nervous every day because it's his nervous system that lets him think and react. But today, he's especially nervous because he's reading Shakespeare for you. Oh, you're on, Sir Adam.
What a piece of work is man, how noble in reason. Okay, that's it.
What?
That's enough, Shakespeare. Bye-bye, Hamlet. Hello, ham sandwich.
Come on, Adam, give it another shot. The deal was that you either cooperate on the cerebrum or you have to pose for the muscular anatomy portrait.
Okay, I'll go back to doing the bard thing.
Good.
Let's see now. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. What's with you and all this literature stuff anyway? They just want to know about my nervous system to see how I'm wired.
You're right, they do want to know about our wiring, but our human nervous system is what makes us so special. It allows us to speak and understand language, to create works of philosophy, to dance under moonlit skies.
Still, let's get some structure here. Let's look at the architecture of the nervous system. Here's a neuron. It's the basic unit of communication in the nervous system. It generates electrical signals and then it transmits them, like current through an electrical wire. Just play the animation by clicking on the picture and I'll show you more about my neurons, nerves, and nerve conduction. My nervous system is composed of two divisions, each containing billions of neurons. The central nervous system contains my brain and my spinal cord, which is a fibrous rope-like structure. The other division, the peripheral nervous system, consists of thousands of nerves that connect my spinal cord to my muscles and sensory receptors. My peripheral nervous system is responsible for my reflexes, which help me to avoid serious injury, and also for my fight or flight response, which is protective when I'm facing stress or danger.
We'll magnify one of Adam's peripheral nerves so you can examine an individual neuron up close.
Hey, talk about a pain in the... Ouch, ouch! Hey, no respect!
This is not my idea of a great time. Could someone out there please call the Illustration Protection League and let them know that they're experimenting on innocent illustrations in here?
Look, there's your peripheral nerve. Each one of those nerve bundles, or fascicles, contains hundreds of individual nerve fibers. Here's an individual neuron with its dendrites, axon, and cell body. The dendrites are the tree-like structures. Their job is to receive signals from other neurons and from special sensory cells that tell Adam about the environment. The cell body is the headquarters of the neuron, containing its genetic information in the form of DNA. The axon transmits signals away from the cell body to other neurons.
Certain neurons, called motor neurons, are responsible for voluntary control of the muscles all over my body. Many neurons, including motor neurons, are insulated like pieces of electrical wire. This insulation protects them and also allows their signals to move faster along the axon. Without this insulation, signals from our brain might never reach the outlying muscle groups in our limbs.
In the final analysis, it's the communication between two neurons that really matters. For an electrical signal to travel between two neurons, it must first be converted to a chemical signal, which then crosses a space of about 1/1000th of an inch wide. The space is called a synapse, and the chemical signal is called a neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitters allow the billions of neurons in Adam's nervous system to communicate with one another. To illustrate how important this is, let's just say that Adam wouldn't be quite as animated if his neurons weren't on speaking terms.
Oh, brother, hey, you ain't kidding!
We're not talking about some isolated neuron here. I have a brain, feelings, and emotions, too. Play the brain animation by clicking on the picture to see for yourself.
Adam's brain is composed of more than 1,000 million neurons. Specific groups of them, working in concert, provide him with the capacity to reason, to experience feelings, and to understand the world. They also give him the capacity to remember numerous pieces of information. There are three major components of Adam's brain: his cerebrum, his cerebellum, and his brainstem. Here's his cerebrum. His cerebral cortex is the outside portion, the so-called gray matter. It generates his most complex intellectual thoughts and controls every move he makes. You can see that the cerebrum is actually divided into left and right sides, which communicate with each other through a thin stalk of nerve fibers. The grooves and folds increase the cerebrum's surface area, allowing human beings to have a tremendous amount of gray matter inside of a pretty small skull. Both of his cerebral hemispheres look similar, but they help Adam to do different things.
The left side of my brain seems to be more influential in shaping my reasoning and language, as well as scientific and mathematical skills.
Researchers believe the right side of the brain seems to have more influence over art and music, as well as insight and imagination. The left hemisphere controls the muscles of Adam's right foot, while the right hemisphere controls the muscles of his wrong foot, which is the one he always uses when we're dancing.
Thanks.
Just a little joke. I meant that the left side of the brain controls the muscles on the right side of the body, and vice versa. Voluntary movements are controlled by a region of his frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is also where Adam shapes all of his emotional reactions and expressions. Now we're looking at the parietal lobe. One reason that Adam loves pizza is because his taste center, which is located in his parietal lobe, tells him that pizza tastes delicious.
Pizza.
This is Adam's temporal lobe. All of the sounds that he hears are processed here. It's also important for learning, memory, and emotion. This next structure is very important. It's Adam's occipital lobe, which analyzes visual information from his retina and makes him aware of what he's seeing. If it gets damaged, he could become blind, even if his eyes continue to function normally. Adam's cerebellum is supposed to create automatic programs, so Adam can make complex movements without thinking. You wouldn't believe how many accidents he had when we first decided to take up downhill skiing. We practically lived in the emergency room. The final brain structure we're looking at now is Adam's brainstem. It's critical for his survival because it connects his brain with his spinal cord. The top portion of the brainstem is called his midbrain. Just below it is the pons, and below that is the medulla. The medulla, with its critical functions, lies deep within the brain, where it is well protected from injuries by an extra thick section of overlying skull. When Adam is asleep or unconscious, his heart rate, breathing, and blood pressure continue to function because they're regulated by his medulla. And that's the inside story on the brain. This is Eve, reporting from the nervous system.
Well, if you're hoping to become Peter Jennings' co-anchor, maybe you should check out your source material.
Why?
Well, you forgot to tell them about the structures deep inside my brain.
Oh, my. I've forgotten to tell them about your hypothalamus.
Well, that's the way it is.
Here it is, in the middle of his brain. Although the hypothalamus is less than 1/300th of his brain's total weight and less than 1% of its volume, it regulates many of the functions that are most critical to Adam's life, including food and water intake. It also plays an important role in controlling the release of Adam's hormones, but we can learn about that when you visit his endocrine system. The hypothalamus also has a center for Adam's libido, which I wouldn't want to forget.
It's more important to remember that the hypothalamus also regulates many complex emotional states, like wanting to clobber someone for talking about your most intimate needs, but feeling conflicted because you don't want to spend the rest of your life in a solitary animation cell.
Looks like I touched a nerve.
Reflexes. Let's move on to reflexes in the spinal cord.
Okay, remember how you burned yourself cooking the oatmeal this morning?
Yes, dear.
If they click on the picture to the right, I can tell them all about your hot oatmeal withdrawal reflex. reflexes are involuntary reactions to a stimulus. Normally speaking, oatmeal stimulates the taste buds in the mouth. But as you'll see, Adam was a little careless cooking breakfast this morning. The bad news was that we lost the oatmeal.
Ouch!
The good news was Adam's withdrawal reflexes saved his hand from more serious injury. You can see that as soon as the hot oatmeal contacts Adam's hand, his pain receptors send a signal to his spinal cord. In turn, the spinal cord sends a signal back to his arm muscles that make him pull his hand away.
Ouch!
Because Adam's arm flexed as it withdrew, this reflex is really known as his flexor, or withdrawal reflex. He has many other reflexes that protect him as well. If Adam didn't have the reflexes to let him withdraw quickly from a painful stimulus, he would certainly be wise to consider having cold cereal in the morning.
Sometimes our reflexes aren't capable of preventing us from experiencing pain. Pain is a warning to our brain that our body is being hurt or injured. Like when that son of a beehive stung me in the park last week. To see the inside story on the sensation of pain, click the picture. Ouch! Gotcha! Even though I got that bee, he got me. I know that because my peripheral nervous system sent a message to my brain telling me it hurt like crazy. The pain receptors in my skin detect tissue damage from the bee sting. Then, my peripheral nerves send a pain signal to my brain. My brain analyzes the pain signal. Usually it doesn't take this long. Ouch! In turn, I deliver a little message back to the bee.
Hasta la vista, baby! That bee won't be back. I never blink. Nothing can stop me.
The illustrated Terminator over there is a little pumped up right now. He never blinks, but I certainly do. If you play the next animation by clicking on the picture, you can see how a greasy hamburger stopped me in my tracks. My nervous system allows me to blink to prevent harmful substances like smoke from getting in my eyes. But I also blink an average of 15 times a minute to keep my eyes healthy. My lacrimal gland provides lubricating fluid for my eyes. My eyelid moves fluid from my lacrimal gland and across my eye. Blinking also provides my eyes with protection from foreign objects. When my eye is irritated, my lacrimal gland produces extra tears to wash out impurities. As the fluid drains through my tear ducts and into my nasal cavity, it may cause me to sniffle.
Dr. Harper, what are cataracts and how can physicians treat them?
A cataract is the clouding of the eye's lens, which blocks light from entering the eye and limits proper vision. People describe seeing through cataracts as if they're looking through a fog. Cataracts are a result of a change in the chemical makeup of the lens. Heavy smoking and ultraviolet radiation from the sun might contribute to cataract formation. Cataracts can be treated with eye drops that widen the pupil, allowing more light in. The most successful treatment is lens replacement surgery. In this procedure, the surgeon removes and replaces the cloudy lens with a new plastic lens. The procedure takes about an hour and is one of the most successful of all operations, with 95% of patients reporting improved vision.
Adam can be pretty sensitive and responsive to his environment because he has specialized sense organs that receive information and transmit it to his brain. Both his sense of smell and taste respond to chemicals that are dissolved in the liquids in his mouth and nose. For instance, his sense of tastes allows him to experience both sweetness and sourness when he eats his favorite food, Chinese shrimp.
The best.
His experience of flowers comes when their chemicals are released into the air and then get dissolved in the fluid in his nose. Of course, Adam sometimes gets the sweet and sour shrimp up his nose as well. You don't mind me telling them about that, do you?
No, as long as you tell them about my karate trophies when we talk about sports medicine. It will all even out.
You got it. So, let's get back to taste. If you click on the picture to play the animation, you can learn about the unusual taste Adam acquired during our last vacation. Smile for the picture, Adam. Well done. Nice segue. Adam's tongue has about 10,000 taste buds. His taste buds are linked to his brain by nerve fibers. Food particles are detected by his taste buds, which send nerve signals to his brain. Certain areas of his tongue are more sensitive to certain tastes, like bitter, sour, or salty. Other areas are sensitive to sweets, like this lollipop. Of course, some tastes are just really hard to classify.
Psst, Adam, Eve, try to cut it short.
Our illustrators are getting nervous about all the disk space we're using for just one body system. But before you leave, you might enjoy seeing some animations about our other senses, including vision, hearing, and smell. Just click on the pictures to play the animations. As Adam inhales, air and scent molecules move past the smell receptors in his nose. In turn, the smell receptors relay a signal to his brain. Smells can trigger memories and emotional responses. Adam!
My ear is divided into 3 regions: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. When sound waves enter my ear canal, they cause my eardrum to vibrate. The vibration moves the 3 bones in my middle ear, called the ossicles. The ossicles are also known as the hammer, anvil, and the stirrup. These tiny bones transfer and amplify sound waves to my oval window, which is located behind the stirrup. When my oval window vibrates, it moves fluid across a membrane inside my cochlea. The fluid causes the membrane to move. Specialized hair cells translate this movement into nerve impulses. My brain interprets the impulses as sound. Let me see now.
No, Adam, let's let them see.
Okay.
To get a better look, let's turn off the lights and magnify Adam's eye. Here's a midline view. Various structures in his eye enable Adam to translate light into recognizable images. Among these are the cornea, the lens, and the retina. Light from this candle can be used to show how Adam's eye translates light waves into images. First, the candlelight passes through the cornea, a clear dome-like structure covering the iris, or colored part of Adam's eye. His cornea bends or refracts the candlelight onto his lens. The light is then refracted a second time while passing through the lens, finally focusing on the retina. The retina is the light-sensitive part of Adam's eye.
This double refraction causes the image of the candle to appear reversed and turned upside down on my retina. Fortunately, that's not the end of the story, or my world would be upside down.
Things get turned right side up in Adam's brain, which is connected to his eye by his optic nerve. Impulses travel down his optic nerve and to the occipital lobe of his brain, which then interprets the image of the candle in the correct perspective.
Here's a good question, Eve. If the brain interprets an object's orientation correctly, why do some people have blurry vision?
Interesting. That's because that's a different phenomenon.
Oh.
The shape of the eye is very important in keeping the things we see in focus. If the shape of the eye changes, it affects a person's vision. Normally, light is precisely focused onto the retina at a location called the focal point. Because a nearsighted eye is longer from front to back than a normal eye, light is focused in front of the retina instead of directly onto it. This makes it difficult to see things that are far away. A person with a long eye is referred to as nearsighted. Glasses with concave lenses are required to correct nearsightedness. The concave lens focuses light back onto the focal point of the retina. Farsightedness occurs when the length of the eye is too short. Light is focused at a point behind the retina, making it difficult to see things that are up close. A convex lens is used to correct farsightedness because it directs the focal point back onto the retina.